listening to the Crossoome Wrestling Entertainment Podcast.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode number 9 of Crossoome Wrestling Entertainment. Woo is right, Tyler. 9 episodes, man. What do you think? Number 9.
Oh, I'm very excited because we're almost at 10.
Save it.
I'm sorry.
Jeez.
I got excited.
I've been waiting for that moment for 10 episodes, okay?
Can we like everyone who is our fan, please, for the love of God, tweet this episode at Sean Spears so we can have Sean Spears on episode 10 of the Crossoome Wrestling Entertainment Podcast.
I wouldn't even know what to do with myself if he was here. Like, that would be so amazing. No, Sean Spears I love Sean Spears, so just
I know you do.
I love
10. Sorry, I had to do it one more time.
Wait, just 1 week. You can't wait a week? Well, hey, what I can't wait for is next week's episode of AEW, especially if it's anything like this week's episode, because it was incredible.
Yeah, it was.
Let's dive into that action. What do you say?
Let's do it.
All righty. Well, hey, we kicked off hot this episode of AEW Dynamite, which aired on September 9th of this year, 2020. Opened up with the Jurassic Express versus the Lucha Bros. Early on in the match, the Jurassic Express's Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus battled the Lucha Bros, Rey Fenix and Penta El Zero M in the night's opening contest as AEW sought to spotlight its incredible tag team division, which we tout about all the time because they're amazing. They're just great. You can't put it any other way. Jungle Boy and Phoenix showed off their athleticism early before Penta joined his brother in a double-team takedown of their young opponents. The massive Luchasaurus turned the tide back in the babyface's favor, only for Penta to shove Jungle Boy off the top rope into a suplex by Phoenix. This match was a very hard-hitting bout and very exciting as the action never slowed down, the two teams cutting a lightning-quick pace, even as the heels gained control. Late as the action broke down, Jungle Boy would score a pinfall after Penta accidentally does a Canadian destroyer to his brother, Rey Fenix. Oof. Big oof there. I don't know if I agree with calling this. The commentary team referred to this as an upset. Do you agree with that?
That is a rough way to talk about the Jurassic Express, because as we have noted, the Jurassic Express is a tag team contender. So I don't understand why they called it an upset. I put it in the notes because it just caught me off guard.
No, for sure. I'd have to disagree with that calling it an upset as well. It just doesn't make sense to me to say that them winning was like a shocker or a surprise, because like you said, they're contenders. They've already had matches for the tag team championships. Like, they're a legitimate tag team. It's like they're this underdog that no one's heard of and this and that. Like, they're a legitimate tag team. So I wouldn't say
the Lucha Bros aren't underdogs either. Like, they're not like these little Joe Schmo. Nobody knows who they are. So it wasn't an underdog win, or they were both massive teams who were going head to head. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it didn't make sense to me. After that match, Eddie Kingston would go into the ring and actually keep Penta and Phoenix from arguing, as obviously Phoenix was upset that his brother did a Canadian destroyer to him, which, Tyler, I love you, but if you did a Canadian destroyer to me, I'd probably be pretty pissed.
I don't think I could actually perform a Canadian destroyer on you, so there's probably nothing to worry about there.
You know what, fans? We'll have to test this theory out, and Tyler and I will practice our Canadian destroyers for the next episode.
Listen, if it goes wrong, it's only going wrong for you.
This is true. And we won't do this live. We'll let you know how that goes. All right.
Yeah. When Noah comes in next week wearing his MJF neck brace, you'll know what happened.
Absolutely. So with that being said, we're going to jump into our next segment, which was away from some in-ring action here. And we got to see Matt Hardy's address to us AEW fans. As you know, Matt Hardy took a very nasty spill at All Out. He bumped his head pretty bad on the concrete, and we were unsure of how he would be able to recover for that, or even if he would be able to get to 100% again. He seems to be doing okay. As he said, he hit the ring to address the fans, and he was met with a lot of applause and a lot of good energy. He thanked the fans, and he said that he will be back soon from a 100% recovery before acknowledging his family and thanking them for being strong with him in this tough time and facing this scary fall from that lift there that we saw in All Out. He also said that he would be turning his focuses on winning some AEW gold. Tyler, that's huge.
Very excited to hear that because I expected this to be like a taking a step back into maybe a managerial role kind of acknowledgement here. So I'm super excited to see that he ain't done and he's going for the gold. He ain't just going to ride the bench anymore and go after these B-list Sammy Guevara guys. He is going to the top of the totem pole. And I just wonder if he's going to go after who he's going to go after. Is he talking about Moxley or Mr. Brody Lee? Is he talking about the FTW champion? Like, what is the plan?
Yeah, to be completely honest, I would put this in the realm of a Brody Lee feud. I would love nothing more than to see Brody Lee and Matt Hardy go at it. I feel like that would be a really fun feud to watch, especially with that Dark Order side of it. And I actually want to book the territory a little bit and come up with the story here on how this Matt Hardy and Brody Lee feud would end, if you would indulge me for a minute.
If you want to come up with how it will end?
Yes. I want to come up.
Walk away champion?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Matt. Mr. Brody Lee will win that.
No,
I don't think
I'm going to go a different direction here.
Really?
Now, hear me out. So we know Matt Hardy has this broken gimmick. He's crazy and this and that. Another dark kind of brokenish gimmick that I would relate to that would be the Dark Order. They have some similarities there. All right. Now, picture this. Again, this is all just me like booking the territory here and Noah Cross's mind of being a wrestling booker. Matt Hardy and Brody Lee have this big blowout match for the TNT Championship. And the Dark Order swears their allegiance to a new leader in the likes of Matt Hardy, helping him get the win over Brody Lee. And that just sends Brody Lee in a spiral out of control. And he just becomes this devastating force. And Matt Hardy is now here as the leader of all of these cronies of the Dark Order.
No, so you're taking a new Nexus angle where a new leader emerges and takes the reins away from the bigger, meaner man.
Yes.
Promising a better tomorrow. I can see it. If he brings out the broken character, I can see it. If he keeps doing this random, like sometimes broken, sometimes normal Matt Hardy, I don't know what to expect out of him. But that would be cool. So maybe as Jace is commenting down here from Throwing Jabs, the hard hitting wrestling show, All Four Downs, he is saying, damn, he really likes the idea of Matt Hardy making the Dark Order broken.
Thank you, Jace. I appreciate it, buddy. Because I thought of this a little earlier today, and I said to myself, "Oh my gosh, how much of a big wrestling moment would that be?" And as a wrestling fan, I would lose. I mean, Tyler, would you like that?
Yeah, I think it's too soon because I love the Dark Order, and I think this is an incredible faction, and I'd hate to see it ruined. So not ruined, changed so early. I think that has promise, what you're saying. But I think it's too soon, and I don't think Matt Hardy's the guy to dethrone Mr. Brody Lee.
Okay. All right. I just think it would be exciting.
You made it make a lot of sense.
It would shake it up. I think it would be very exciting. But hey, going off of that and a little bit of a tangent there of a storyline that I would love to see happen, and I know some of our fans could tell would love to see it happen as well. Thank you for joining us in that comment section. Let's jump into some more in-ring competition here with Orange Cassidy versus Angelico. Angelico, accompanied by Jack Evans, battled Orange Cassidy, who was fresh off a victory off of Chris Jericho in their Mimosa Mayhem match at All Out. Angelico wore Cassidy down early on with an array of submissions learned in Mexico, as he is very keen on these submission maneuvers. Cassidy dropped a corner splash, soared off the top rope with a crossbody, and blasted Angelico with Orange Punch for the win, which I love the name of that of that finishing move, by the way, the Orange Punch. I think that's hilarious. After the match, Santana and Ortiz would come out and attack Cassidy, and then the best friends, Trent and Chuck Taylor, would make their way to the ring to save their friend Orange Cassidy. And then they would go on to pick up the microphone and call out Santana and Ortiz and said, "We will see you next week in some in-ring action." Tyler, what'd you think of this match here?
Kind of lackluster. The maneuvers were nice. It was cool to see a submissions artist in the ring against a guy like Orange Cassidy, someone who's so low energy. So it was a weird kind of chemistry that the two of them had going on. But I got to mention something. The Orange Punch, hilarious name.
Mm-hmm.
It's just coming from a guy like Orange Cassidy. It's just not as believable as coming from a guy like Orange Reigns. Jesus, Roman Reigns. Because Roman Reigns' Superman punch is just so much more brutal than Orange Cassidy's is. And it just, I don't know why. His Superman punch, it just, that's all I have to say about it. It just,
Can you just see how, but look at the air he's got. I mean, look, he's just locked in.
Have you seen him deliver it, though? Like when he.
Okay, I know what you're saying. However, if Roman Reigns ever comes to AEW or Orange Cassidy ever goes to the WWE, Orange Reign has to be their tag team. I mean, they have to be a tag team, and it has to be what you just. I said that it's gonna be that'll be their Purple Reign. The wrestling versions of Purple Reign will be Orange Reign in the tag team of Orange Cassidy and Roman Reigns. Tyler, you just congratulations, Tyler. You just made the best tag team name in the history of wrestling.
And it just got Prince music playing in the background the whole time.
I love it.
Stuff.
I love it.
But yeah, I really hate the Orange Punch. I think it's a hilarious move. It's a creative and silly name for a move. But it's as effective as the Heart Punch, and I wish he would find something new.
I will say this: I don't like it as a finisher. That I can agree with. I do like it as a move for a guy like Orange Cassidy to do, but I don't like it as a finisher either.
Yeah, I don't believe that can finish a match. But
fair enough.
Yeah, whatever.
Fair enough.
I'm not mad about it. I just wish he would do something better.
Fair enough. All right. Well, hey, the next segment was extremely exciting, and Tyler, you want to take us through that because I know you love this person in your heart. So.
Oh man, I was hoping he would come during the Battle Royal a few weeks ago, or last week, but Mr. Miro is the best man. Miro is All Elite, formerly known as Rusev for you WWE Strictly fans. So Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford dismissed Tony Schiavone, as you like to call him, from the ring and set out to reveal the best man for their wedding. After 2 false calls with a Twitch subscriber, which was very funny, and because they keep rubbing that in WWE's face, and Brian Pillman Jr., he introduced Miro, the artist formerly known as Rusev. The former Bulgarian brute entered to a thunderous ovation from the fans in attendance, and he says Elite recognizes Elite, he said before telling his former employer to shove the proverbial brass ring right up their candy ass. He says his name is Miro and he is All Elite. Oh my gosh. If I don't understand WWE's take on all of this, because for the last few weeks, AEW has taken an absolute crap all over WWE's face, and WWE has done nothing about it, and their views are tanking because of it. I think if WWE stood up, they would have much more pull in this ratings race.
I can't say that the ratings are being affected because AEW is trashing them. And I will say if they did have a jab.
People love it, man.
Although, as I was saying, though, if they did have a jab back at AEW, I could totally see people being like, oh, WWE's making jabs at these guys. Let's go see what they're doing, and that kind of thing. Because, I mean, who doesn't want to see billionaires beef with each other? I mean, come on.
Sure.
Why not?
I would like to see them put a belt on Miro very quickly. But I don't want him to go after Mr. Brody Lee, and I don't want him to go after Jon Moxley. I think it's time for him to go after the FTW champion and take that belt off of Mr. Cage.
Okay.
Because I think it's time they actually have that belt defended on TV and not just a little strap piece that he can carry around on his shoulder.
Yeah. I mean, to be completely fair, it is. It isn't like, I guess, an AEW piece of gold in a sense, but
it's a Taz belt.
Fair. I could see it.
So if we're not going to use it, get rid of it.
No, I like it. I could see that happening, but at the end of it, maybe Matt Hardy doesn't go against Brody in what I booked earlier, and we could see Miro going after Mr. Brody Lee and having a stand there, which would be cool. But in all honesty, maybe Miro might turn into a heel character. I mean, I know he's loved right now. And
can I just address something?
Sure.
People I have seen online are constantly complaining that AEW is just signing old WWE stars and that they're not making anything new. I don't understand what their issue is with that. WWE had a monopoly on the wrestling world. People were like, well, TNA was around and they did their own thing. Great, because no one wanted to go to TNA because they made crappy content. When it comes to AEW, this is the next big thing. Of course, Tony Khan got a call from almost every single WWE superstar. What, do you want him to say no to Rusev? Absolutely not. He's going to make these guys better than WWE ever could have. And I'm sick and tired of the mark WWE fans who are just complaining that these guys who, quote unquote, couldn't make it in WWE. No, WWE has 500 superstars that they don't have time for. And AEW is going to make room for them on their roster. That's all I have to say.
Okay, Tyler, next time just be truthful. Tell us how you feel, okay?
WWE sucks. There you go.
Okay. No. I do agree, though. I don't agree with the whole they're just taking old stars. I wouldn't say Rusev is an old star.
No.
And having a guy like Rusev on this roster, he's able to reinvent himself. He's not going to be
he's not Rusev anymore.
He's going to be Miro. He's going to be this new character, just like Jon Moxley is Jon Moxley. He's not Dean Ambrose. So they're creating themselves in new lights.
I guess Hulk Hogan doesn't matter because he was with WCW for all those years.
Well, hey, there you go. That's a good point. Valid point. But hey, from that, it's exciting to see a new face. It's exciting to see Miro here in AEW. He is all elite. He had a great promo. If you get a chance to go check that out, I definitely would recommend it. After that, we had a quick backstage segment where Kenny Omega was, Hangman Adam Page was being interviewed, and it was said that him and Omega seem to be working out their differences. They're going to be getting back on the same page after losing their championships to FTR at the recent pay-per-view, and I have to agree with the "yeah, right" note that you put here in the script. I don't think that's happening whatsoever. What's your take on that?
Yeah, okay. Tony Khan, you're smarter than that. You can't pull the wool over my eyes. I see through this. This is not happening. They will not win those tag titles back. And the team to take it from FTR will be the Jurassic Express. I think we need to move on from these guys becoming a tag team and focus on their storyline headed into the next pay-per-view.
Fair enough. I honestly could see them having a singles bout, like a singles feud against each other. Yeah. Because they would tear it absolutely up. That would be amazing. But I don't think they're working out their differences or getting that W over FTR. FTR just got those championships. They're going to build
pulling the wool over Adam's eyes, and they're going to attack him.
For sure. Okay. Oh, really? You think so? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Did you see what happened with the Bucks? I mean, we'll talk about it in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, so back to the action here. We have Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss versus Chris Jericho and the brick wall Jake Hager. And your applause there is well deserved by these guys because they absolutely tore it up. The Demo God Chris Jericho and Jake Hager battled the young team of Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss in a tag team action this week. Hager sought revenge for his elimination from the Casino Battle Royale at the hands of Sonny Kiss, while Janela looked to pay the Inner Circle heels back for the brutal beating he endured weeks ago at their hands. The fired-up babyfaces kept the heels at bay, keeping them guessing with a lot of unpredictable offense. A blind charge into the corner by the bad boy led a side suplex by Chris Jericho as the heels wrestled away out of control during the bout. A minute later, Jericho catapulted Janela into Hager, who drove him through the table. Kiss would continue to fight, but came up short, succumbing to Hager's onslaught as the Inner Circle picked up a much-needed victory, as you put here. After the match, Jericho declared that he and Hager were settling their sights on the AEW Tag Team Championships, currently held by FTR. I will say, this was a great match, as I said before. They absolutely tore it up. I do like seeing Jericho mixing it up a bit. He was there at the top. He was there as the AEW champion. He decided to move to and set his sights on different things and taking Jake Hager and saying, we're going to win those tag team championships. So what do you think of that, Tyler?
I am not opposed to the Inner Circle going after the tag team champions. I think that's a cool move. I don't think they'll be the ones to do it because there's no way Jericho and Hager stand up to FTR. I think that's a very, very cool move to see him going. But I wish that Kiss had been able to pull off another upset over Hager. That would have set up such an incredible storyline. Even without a belt, to have these two beefing out, they could put on some incredible matches. So bummed it ended the way it did. But hey, you know what? Chris Jericho is the demo god for a reason. That crowd every single night sings his music, and whenever he asks them to cheer for him, they do. So yeah, definitely that man deserves to have a belt over his shoulder.
No, absolutely. All right, fair enough. And I could definitely see those two getting the tag team championships. I don't think they'll beat FTR for them. That just doesn't really make sense to me.
Yeah, give it a year.
I could see it happening down the road for sure. So overall, a good bout, exciting action here. And that led us to a backstage segment from our AEW World Champion, Jon Moxley, who discussed his match that he had with MJF at All Out. He admitted that things are not getting any easier for him as the AEW World Champion, and he agreed that they pretty much shouldn't, as Jon Moxley is a fighter, as we all know. He then went to cut a promo on Lance Archer, who was granted his AEW World Championship match in a few weeks here, which we'll get to that date later on in the episode of when you can catch that.
Yeah.
And their upcoming clash. I think, Tyler, Jon Moxley is just, I think he's just an all-elite champion right now.
Yeah, he's incredible. You know what? I can't be the only one, though, who is not excited to see Moxley versus Lance Archer.
Oh, for sure.
I didn't want that match, personally. So I really don't care much what's going to happen because I don't see a chance in hell that they put the belt on Lance Archer over Moxley. So I'm really I'm annoyed that they're putting it further out, but we'll talk about the date in a little bit. But I wish they would kind of just get this over with so he can focus on some different rivalries. But it is what it is.
No, fair enough. Well, I think they just put it further out. They want to build to it, but we'll see. And it is also a title match on an episode of Dynamite, which I'm like, okay, but whatever. So we'll see how that goes there. Definitely exciting promo from Moxley to get you fired up for that feud. Right after that, we went back to the ring where we saw FTR celebrating their recent AEW Tag Team Championship win with their manager, Tully Blanchard. Dax Hardwood and Cash Wheeler cut down the tag team division, including the Gun Club and Jurassic Express, before revealing that they will take on Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus next week in a non-title match.
All right.
I mean, I'm in, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, what's to be upset about there?
Exactly. We'll get to that. We'll get to that later on in our preview for next week. Inefficient throw of the ring and illegal use of the pentagram shift caused by Wardlow.
What did you call it?
I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong spot here. Let's get back to the tag team stuff here because
they got mixed in. That's my bad.
Yeah, we mixed in the script there. Sorry about that, folks. So yeah, what we were basically talking about here is that FTR was out in the ring. They basically cut down the tag team division, saying that they weren't as elite status as FTR. Which, if you're FTR, obviously you're going to say that you have Tully Blanchard there supporting you. And then what happened was all the tag teams were actually around the ring, who were supposed to be, I guess, clapping and applauding their new tag team champions. And well, that obviously wasn't going to happen when they're telling you you're garbage. And all the tag teams had to jump into the ring, and they kind of messed up the FTR's party there, destroyed the ring, and basically tossed them out of their own celebration, which I was happy to see. I mean, I love FTR, but you got to love the baby faces getting the better of the doubt there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, for sure. Next up, we will jump into some more action here, some women's action with Nyla Rose versus Taya Conti. Taya Conti made her first appearance joining All Elite Wrestling as a contracted talent, battling top contender Nyla Rose in single competition, who was accompanied by Vicky Guerrero here. Who always
Excuse me!
Yeah, we're back into that now. Conti fought her way back into the match, even grabbing hold of an armbar. Just as she looked like she might score the upset victory, Rose powered out and delivered a beast bomb for the win, which that power bomb was vicious, to say the least. After the match, Vicky Guerrero cut a promo saying that the Vicious Vixens were going nowhere. Rose was going to resume battling and hopefully get Hiroku Shida, who made the save to help Taya Conti.
Man, you always say her name wrong.
Please. Please.
Kyle told me to yell at you. It's Hikaru Shida.
Hikaru Shida. My apologies.
I don't know where you get the R and the O.
My apologies there. Yes, Hikaru Shida. So Tyler, do you see Rose taking the title away from Hikaru Shida?
I do actually see that happening. I think this is, I said it for the last few weeks that I think Nyla Rose is the one to do it. With Vicky Guerrero as a mouthpiece, incredible opportunity for Nyla Rose here. And for some fans who don't know, I think it is important to update people that Nyla Rose is one of the first transgender wrestlers to really make a main event push in any wrestling promotion. So Nyla Rose has really been a massive staple for AEW, whether it be through controversy from certain fans, or just really showing that she can do just as much as the rest of the talent on that roster can. I think she is the one to beat Hikaru Shida.
All right, fair enough. I'm honestly going to have to agree. I think that she's going to be able to put herself in that prominent role as top of the women's division. She'll take that championship.
Two-time
yes,
champ.
She will take that championship from her eventually, especially with Vicky Guerrero as a new mouthpiece. It'll be exciting to see what they're going to do down the road. So I'm ready to see some more action on that front. It's very good. I mean, we got a Britt Baker. There's no Britt Baker on this episode, which was depressing to me. But
no, I think she was briefly, but who cares?
No, you leave Britt Baker alone.
I left her off because who cares?
After that woman's bout, we went into the main event that I was so looking forward to. And I know you were too, Tyler. And the likes of the TMT Championship match with Dustin Rhodes versus Mr. Brody Lee. Oh my gosh. Was this just heart-wrenching type of match here? The way it went, the emotion that Dustin showed in this fight was absolutely amazing. Tyler, I'll let you take us through this main event here, my friend.
Okay. Yeah, it was an incredible main event. So it started off as Rhodes pounded away at his opponent, both in ring and out to the floor. I was shocked to see him get the upper hand right off the bat like that. Mr. Brody Lee recovered and wrestled control of the match away from his challenger, seizing the upper hand through the commercial break. Dustin fought back and delivered a crossroads, nearly putting Lee away with Cody's finisher and what would have been a poetic justice kind of move. Lee survived it, and a pile driver before hitting Dustin with a double thrust kick, which were both incredible, and then hitting the discus lariat, putting away Dustin for a successful title defense. The Dark Order came out to hit the ring to celebrate afterwards, including Colt Cabana, whom the Exalted One banished from the ring, which maybe, just maybe, hot take, Colt Cabana is the one to take the belt off of Mr. Brody Lee. A cheap low blow followed after the match, and Lee taunted the former TNT, not NTN, TNT champion, looking into the camera, exclaiming, "Cody, come home," as the show cut to black.
Yeah. Wow.
Brutal.
Wow, to say the least, for this match here. It was definitely an exciting bout. When they made this match, Dustin Rhodes did a great job after All Out to hype up the fans for it with a promo that he cut, and they delivered. I would say they definitely delivered. And what do you think this "come home Cody" or "Cody come home" that Brody Lee's been yelling at the camera? What do you think that has to do with, Tyler? What do you think the deal is?
I don't know. I think he thinks he's taking longer than he needs to recover, maybe. And just saying, "Stop hiding. Come face me man to man. I embarrassed you. Don't you want to stand up for your brother?" And notice QT Marshall didn't come out to help. So I think that we are seeing an era of where everyone is frightened of Mr. Brody Lee in the Dark Order. We didn't see any of the Nightmare family come out and assist. So no Arn, no Cody, no Brandy, no Allie. No one came out in his defense. So what's going on in the Nightmare family? Is something happening? What's going on there? I honestly think they're all just terrified of Mr. Brody Lee.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have to agree. If you just, in a real perspective here, if you looked at this match or watched this match and you saw, I mean, Dustin Rhodes is a big man. Like, he's a big guy. And and Brody Lee absolutely towers over him.
Yeah. Yep.
It is insane how much of a massive human being Brody Lee is. This match was great. It was a lot of back and forth. But again, I think Brody Lee's size and strength just overpowered Dustin, and he was able to take that W. I'd love to see them have another singles match in the future. I do agree that people are kind of scared of the Dark Order here and what they're capable of, and I'm excited to see what happens when Cody eventually does return, and if he sets his sights on Brody Lee to get retribution for not only himself, but for his family. So that will be exciting. That leads us to a preview, and as we said before, we have Lance Archer will get his AEW World Championship match on October 14th on AEW Dynamite. It's exciting bout here, two big guys. It'll be cool to see Jon Moxley take on this behemoth in the likes of Lance Archer, who'll be accompanied by Jake the Snake Roberts here. Tyler, who gets the dub in that match?
Oh, come on. Moxley has to win that match. Like, if he doesn't win that, I will be so upset if he doesn't win that match. That would be an absolute travesty.
Fair enough. I do agree. I will take Moxley in that match on October 14th. I'm definitely excited for it. That'll be a good episode of Dynamite to catch. But before that, we have this coming week's episode of AEW Dynamite. There is still an uncertainty as to when this episode is going to air. Because of the NBA playoffs. The rumor is it'll be Wednesday or Thursday. There's no official day actually announced yet by AEW. So I guess we'll see when this show comes on. But whenever that show airs, the matches that will happen will be the Best Friends versus Santana and Ortiz, which was set on AEW this previous week. Those two have been beefing. They will have a nice double.
And I believe it's a parking lot match as well.
Yes, you are correct. It is a parking lot match, so that'll be great to see as well, to see what kind of stipulations they throw in. And as you're going to notice, this is a tag team heavy evening, so I'm excited to see who doesn't love some good tag team action. Also, next week will be Chris Jericho and Jake Hager versus the Private Party. That's going to be a good bout to catch as well. The Private Party is a fun style offense, very quick and flashy. And I would say Jericho and Hager are more ground and pound style. So they're definitely going to clash in that respect. And that'll be a fun one to see.
It's interesting seeing two different factions, or the faction break up from the Inner Circle into two different tag teams here. It could lead to potentially some friction later on down the road between these two different halves of the faction. I'm curious to see what happens there.
For sure. Definitely something to look forward to and to think about. I love it. That's going to be good. Coming up here, we have some singles action for some people who have been spending their time in the tag team division. It's cool to see them getting a little bit of a breakout there, and that's Hangman Adam Page versus Frankie Kazarian of SCU. Tyler, what do you think of that singles bout coming up?
I think that is huge. I think this is a big moment where we see Hangman as the only member of the former Elite in action. So I think that is where we will see the Elite turn on Mr. Hangman and Frankie Kazarian pulls off an upset victory.
Okay. So are you saying that you think Hangman will just have his emotions might get the best of him? Then he might be still thinking about that Kenny situation,
Sure, or Kenny and the Bucks intentionally cost him the match.
Okay, maybe
one of those two things will happen.
All right, will happen. All right, prediction. I love it. Bold prediction there by Tyler. Also happening next week, MJF will be in action. Not sure who his opponent will be.
Wardlow.
What?
I think he's going to force Wardlow to lay down in the middle of the ring.
Oh, you know what? I hate you because I could totally see that happening. Yep. Oh, that sounds good. I was thinking that or just some jobber that we've never heard of, so Hangman can get an easy victory. But maybe
he'll get to fight Garrison again.
Oh, okay.
Because he deserves another shot because that was kind of dirty what he did to him a month ago. So
yeah,
potentially.
Maybe. I could see it. But I do love that Wardlow angle, especially because there's uncertainty there. I want to ask you, Tyler, do you think that the Wardlow MJF deal is coming down to a boiling point where Wardlow is going to turn on MJF?
100%, and it's sad to say that Wardlow will get the upper hand in that rivalry.
Oh no, absolutely, Wardlow will get the upper hand in that rivalry. I'm going to be honest. That idea of that storyline, and it looks like that's where they're going, kind of bores me.
Yeah, right.
I don't understand why Wardlow and they think this is going to be this like new shocking thing or new shocking storyline or development, because we had a very similar thing happen with Cody and MJF where MJF turned on Cody, and now we're going to turn around and Wardlow's going to turn on MJF.
But to be fair, we knew that MJF thing was coming because for you people who watch Being the Elite on YouTube, we knew that was coming because every time he would talk to Cody, he's like, "Hello, sir. How are you, sir? I love you." And then Cody would walk away and he would flip him the bird as he was walking away. So we knew that he was going to turn on him at any given moment. So, yeah, same thing a little bit, but a little bit of a different taste.
Fair enough. Also, we will be seeing Thunder Rosa versus Ivelisse next week, so that'll be a good taste of women's action there. And from there, the match that I'm honestly most excited for is the match we already talked about earlier, and the likes of FTR versus the Jurassic Express in a non-tag team championship match. But FTR did say if they can get the upper hand, if Jurassic Express gets the upper hand, that they might consider giving them a championship opportunity down the road. Tyler, are you excited for this FTR Jurassic Express match as much as I am?
I am very excited for this, and I honestly, the only reason I'm making this pick is because it is a non-title match. I think Luchasaurus pins Hardwood.
Really? Okay. I do agree that I think the Jurassic Express are going to win because I just love the idea of that, and I want them to get a championship opportunity in the future. I am worried, however, that they're that team that doesn't really need a championship, as we've discussed before, in the likes of Jurassic Express. And because of that, they might not ever get that opportunity. They might not ever, they will eventually. But I just think I don't want it to be too long of a wait to where people just are kind of over it.
I think that you are being too in your head like Vince McMahon is running this show. Vince McMahon doesn't run this show. Tony Khan does. And I think Tony Khan realizes who the fan favorites are. And that's why Jurassic Express has been in the position that they have been for the last 2 years.
Fair enough.
I think it is time for Jurassic Express to get their push. I don't think FTR should lose the belt anytime soon. I think they should be a long-reigning tag team champion team. But Jurassic Express definitely deserves to be up there and to win these titles at some point in the future. But I don't think they'll be the ones to take it off of, like I said earlier, I don't think they're going to be the ones to do it.
No. All right. Fair enough. But yeah, in this non-title bout, I would definitely give the W to Jurassic Express. Overall, it was a fantastic episode of AEW Dynamite, to say the least. Tyler, what would you give this episode out of 5?
I give it about 3.8 to 4. It was very good. Nothing too wild or off the handle. It was just good wrestling all around. There have been a lot of botches lately, where moves just haven't gone well. And speaking of botches, we didn't see Seidel at all. So maybe his pride is a little bit broken, and he needs to go rebrand himself. Because, as we talked about, that one hurt a little bit. So maybe I'll go towards 3.8 out of 5 because it wasn't quite a 4-star night. We've seen way better nights than this that we've branded 4. So
yeah, absolutely. I'd have to agree. I give you like a 3.5 to 3.8 there in terms of an out of 5 rating for the overall episode. It was still good though. I still recommend watching it, and definitely watch next week. It's going to be an action-packed night. Cannot wait for FTR versus Jurassic Express's match. As you know, here on the Clovercrest media page here, that we have many other podcasts. And the other night, our fellow friends there on the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show had a very cool guest. And Tyler, want to please tell us about that?
I was on that show. Over on the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show, we usually go live at around Tuesday, usually on Tuesdays, and then we do our predictions like we do here on the CWE podcast. But we had the incredible honor of interviewing Mr. Tito Santana, WWE Hall of Famer. And can I just say, what an incredible, incredible guy. It was just like talking to your best friend. He was such an amazing guy to talk to. Straightforward, gave incredible answers to all of our questions. So, without giving too many spoilers, please go check out the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show's page and give it a watch. I even shared it on our wall. So if you would like to watch, you can just check out the CWE Facebook page, and you can give it a watch, and then follow your way over to see OV's incredible production that he does over on the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show. Tito Santana joined us live for the tag team bracket. And surprisingly, he was able to pick the last teams to move on. So join us there on the Hard Hitting Wrestling Show for that incredible episode.
Absolutely. And I could say, as a fan, I listened into the episode. It was great. It was a great listen, a really fun watch. I would definitely recommend to check that out. And if you love fun. Absolutely. If you love podcasts, visit clovercrestmedia.com for a wide selection of great shows covering sports, business, relationships, pop culture, politics, and true crime. There are 26 shows on the hashtag CMG Network. And if you don't find one you like, which you will, you can just start one of your own. We can help you launch your podcast for as little as $15 per month. clovercrestmedia.com is the website to visit, and make sure you check it out and tell your friends about it. You can visit clovercrestmedia.com and click on the link for the latest on your favorite CMG sports podcasts, as well as blogs, videos, and other types of latest information. With that being said, thank you so much for joining us this week. We look forward to next week for episode number 10, where we can finally get that out of our system. And with that being said, I'm Noah Cross. That is my best friend, Tyler Bard. We will see you next week for some more Crossoome Wrestling Entertainment. Thank you.
You're listening to the Crossoome Wrestling Entertainment Podcast.